All right, thank you, Your Honor. Professor Blackman, you're batting cleanup.
Thank you so much. So first off, we are all wearing bow ties at Justice Willis' request. And secondly, I do not drink coffee, so there's no caffeine in it. It's a pleasure to be here. I started law school in 2006. That year I attended my very first FedSoc convention. That was also the year Twitter was invented. 3 years later, I came to this very hotel and I was the first live tweeter for the FedSoc convention. Peter Redpath gave me a free ticket to the dinner if I tweeted about the convention. It wasn't even a thing yet. And now here we are about 8 or 9 years later, and we have this massive social media presence. It's being streamed online. Dozens of you have tweeted about this exact panel. I've been tweeting from the stage. We are in a very different world. I want to talk about 4 areas today: social media in the courts, social media in judges, social media for legal reporters, and social media in law schools. I want to start with the courts, which is a very important aspect. And I have 5 principles that courts should consider. First, websites for courts should be accessible. They should look like they were created in the year 2018, not in 1996 on a dial-up modem. Far too many court websites are awful. You can't navigate, they have old information, they have no photographs of the judges. Keep up with the times. Second, make opinions freely and easily available. Please clap for that. There is ongoing litigation about whether PACER, which is the federal system, can charge you a nickel a page. Like you're going to a copy machine, 5 cents a page for PDF. That is, I think it's illegal. I'll put that aside. It's awful policy. So if you are in a state court, make your opinions available on a single page, download. I don't have to jump through a hoop, don't have to sign up for an account. And if you have a federal court, guess what? You can post opinions for free on your homepage. Some courts have noteworthy decisions. Just link to a PDF. The third principle, and Judge Dillard stole my thunder, live stream your arguments. I understand there are arguments, pros and cons, but enough courts have tried this. It doesn't change the dynamics. I don't know if we'll crack the Supreme Court, but the lower courts can change their policies. And I said live stream, not record it and put the video on a month later. That doesn't count. People want to see information right away. There's so much disinformation. I'll get to reporters in a minute. There's so much disinformation that you can help fix by putting your own arguments live. True, people will tweet, they'll overreact, fine, but the upshots are far greater. Fourth, consider preparing summaries of opinions. The Ninth Circuit does this. They create basically a syllabus, like the Supreme Court, where they have a short overview of a decision. That is helpful. If there's a long, complicated decision, give us something. Give the press something to jump on quickly so they don't mischaracterize it. And last, this is primarily for judges who have their own dockets. Please make your opinions available that you can copy and paste. It's something called OCR, optical character recognition. You know what this is, right? If you simply print your opinion out, sign it on paper and scan it, it's useless for us, right? We can't copy and paste from it. We can't do a Control-F or search. Make your opinions readable, that you can search them. It makes my life easier. In other words, I can't blog about your opinion if I can't do a Control-F and search for the word I'm looking for. So please, OCR. Okay. Next, social media and judges. So I have a few basic principles, right? You can have an account like Judge Dillard, which is open to the public, but a lot of judges have private accounts. And this creates, I think, certain issues. Recently, the Supreme Court of Florida, I think yesterday or the day before, said that judges do not need to disclose if they're Facebook friends with perhaps a member of the jury or someone in the case. I'm not sure about that. But judges who do have social media accounts, I recognize you are human beings, you have children, you have parents, you want to exchange information. Be very, very careful. Do not friend on Facebook your litigants or any possible people in the jury. I think you should disclose it anyway. Much better is make your account public. Let the people see what you're doing. There was an article on BuzzFeed about a month ago. A number of federal judges, some in this building perhaps, have Facebook accounts. They have Twitter accounts, and reporters find them. It's not hard, right? If you follow certain people and you like certain things, you can track it down. So my recommendation, judges should make their accounts public. Now, I would love if you do what Judge Dillard does and actually tweet in a meaningful way. Now, I'd asked Judge Willett if he would tweet from the podium today. He gave me a "that's a no" from Simon Cowell meme. So he said no. But I would hope that more judges engage in the manner that Judge Dillard does and Justice Willett did. It's valuable, right? If I just tweet, I'm no one. But when a judge is like, wow, that's a big deal. So it's a very important aspect. I'll mention briefly, apparently now Twitter is good for federal courts, right? Courts just cite tweets as if they're any evidence. So to the extent that you have any interest in government, your tweets can and will be used against you. I think one of the more dispiriting aspects of recent confirmation processes is focusing on tweets of judges that are entirely innocuous. It's disgusting, but they will use it against you, so be very, very careful, right? Don't put something on Twitter. If you delete it, it doesn't matter. It's still there. It's preserved for eternity. The next aspect of my talk is social media and legal reporting. The way reporters cover the courts has changed drastically in the past 2 decades or so. It used to be that you'd have a Supreme Court decision in the morning, and the reporters would write a story for the next day daily paper. No more. They have to get stories out within minutes of the decision. They basically write their stories in advance and just plug in the holding. It's remarkable. It used to be that they could ask an expert for an opinion when the reporters came out. No, it's right away. So you need speed, which is why putting the opinions online in a searchable format is key. Whoever tweets about it first sets the agenda. And far too often, people tweeting are wrong, and they change the agenda, and I have to try and fix it. It's a full-time job, but I try very hard. So put your opinions online quickly. If you're a court saying we're going to announce opinions at 10 o'clock on a certain day, that's very good. Let the media know. But one of the consequences of the decline in legal reporting is you have fewer reporters who cover courts. Used to be you'd have one reporter, his full-time job was the courts. No more. So now you have the political reporter comes over and does courts every now and then, or maybe the person does a school board, does courts. They don't know nearly as much. I think that's unfortunate. And a lot of legal reporting today suffers for that exact reason, which is why tweeters like myself can help bridge that gap, right? Reporters call upon us, say what the hell is going on, and we can give them instant impact as long as we have the PDF of the opinion, right? I don't trust a story that doesn't have a link to an opinion. I just don't trust it because I can't verify it for myself. One other innovation, screenshots. If there's an opinion and there's a key passage, put in a screenshot right in the tweet. People are more likely to read tweets when there's a picture in it, we like pictures, and you can jump to it right away. One last comment. Judges have different policies when reporters contact chambers, right? Sometimes they say no comment, they decline to comment. I think a good general policy is don't even say anything, just ignore it. Even the no comment is kind of a comment, so I would just ignore it altogether. The last part of my talk is the one nearest and dearest to my heart, which is law schools. I've been teaching now for 7 years. I speak at about 40 or 50 law schools a year, so I get a lot of experience. And I can't tell you how much social media has transformed that experience. It's remarkable. I'm walking up and down the halls of the Mayflower. He's like, hey, Josh, I know you from Twitter. It's stunning. People know this. They get to know you. They think they know you. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't drink coffee. But they think they know you well enough. But a couple of principles for law professors. First, live stream your lectures. Let me give you a couple reasons why. First, you benefit your students immeasurably. They can't possibly write down everything you say. They shouldn't. If my students know my lectures are online, they're not doing this thing where they're typing frantically. They can go back, check later. In fact, my students watch last year's lecture before class, so they know what I'm going to say. That's powerful. But this is not just for your own students. I have students around the globe who watch my lectures. Thousands of them. I don't know who they are, but they say, you know what, you got me through property, you got me through Connell, and I meet them on the road. It's frankly stunning. So put your lectures on YouTube. Professors say, well, I may say something inappropriate. Get over it. Your kids are recording you anyway, right? If you say something inappropriate, they will have a recording of it. And let me make a point that's not too subtle. You have backup of your own recording, right? They can't quote you out of context if you have your own recording. I've been protested, I've been heckled. You wanna know something? I have the complete video from beginning to end. They cannot take me out of context. I've had students accuse me of saying things that I never said. I say, show me the tape. And it goes away real quick. So it's for your own preservation that you're always being recorded, and I value that very highly. Also, you can use Twitter to engage students. Judge Dillard mentors them. I can just answer questions. If the student puts a question on Twitter, I'll answer it. And that's a direct communication line that may not otherwise exist, okay? One other issue to think about in social media is discipline issues, right? Law students often get very active, very feisty, they like to fight, but sometimes they do it on social media and they actually taunt each other in class. And discussions that begin in class spill over into class Facebook pages. I tend to stay away from it, but I think at some point schools will try to discipline that and police that. I think there's some First Amendment issues at state schools and other issues that go beyond the scope, but it's one thing to keep in mind. Another related issue is tenure and professors saying stupid things on Twitter, right? Is a professor's Twitter account part of his academic freedom, right? You've had professors make virulent comments about the right or the left on Twitter, can you discipline them for that? Does it promote the academic discourse? My general sentiment is yes, it's part of the academic discourse. We use lots of different mediums to communicate. My last point, to reiterate something that John mentioned, that Twitter's pretty awful, right? There's a lot of, and David as well, there's a lot of hatred, racism, sexism, every ism you can imagine. I encourage you strongly, and I mean this sincerely, do not feel the need to reply. The most powerful thing I ever did on Twitter was saying, you know what? I don't need to reply to this person. And that's the most effective response ever. I've had people message me saying, why don't you reply to me? I'm like, I don't want to. And it kills them. So if people stop replying, or instead of replying, send them an email, right? I've had professors say awful things to me on Twitter. I send them an email, we diffuse it in 3 seconds. You're not going to diffuse an argument on Twitter. Disengage, right? Use it to push information, but don't get into fights that you are not going to win. Thank you all so much.